Hey everybody, welcome back. Litecoin today is moving to the downside. At the time of filming, we're seeing Litecoin drop by about 2.5%, and now we're sitting at a price of 17.86. Now, if you ask me, this could be a rather monumental moment for reasons which we're going to talk about in just a second. We're going to get to all of that in this video. If it sounds good, guys, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. And of course, share it with somebody who may be able to benefit from this. At the same time, do remember, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I thoroughly recommend that you do your own research before making any investments. Now, with all of that being said, we're going to get straight into this one and start looking basically at today's price action. Now, today we are down by 2.5%, but what you'll know if you've been watching this one overnight is that we saw a drop significantly lower. Now, where I am based in the UK, morning time, maybe between 12 and 3 in the morning, we saw this one really take quite a massive dip, right? Down something like 4% before slightly recovering as stock markets opened in today's session. Now, this is something that I spoke about in detail, and I spoke about my stance and how my stance specifically has changed recently on the Patreon page. So if you want to go and click over there, link is in the bio, and you'll be able to access all of the videos and the daily updates over there, which are a lot more detailed. But yeah, my opinion on this has changed in a number of ways, and I'm very bullish on Litecoin overall, as you all know. But one thing that I pointed out, and you can see this very clearly on the 1 year chart, or maybe even a bit further out than that, what is the level that we keep having difficulty at? Well, it's 130 to 135, right? 135, a level that we just don't seem to be able to break above. We've seen this many times in the past. This is going back to January, and you're going to see the same picture here. A lot of difficulty breaking above that level, and we can go back years and see that level being an issue. Now, why this matters, if you can't guess, is because the recent high that we just saw was round about what price? Around about 135, right, when we factor everything in. It was certainly in that range between 130 and 135, and the same thing happened. We saw a bounce down. Now, one thing that I did mention in a previous video, and again, I speak about this in vast detail on Patreon, so I do recommend that you give it a look, but every single time that we have bounced off of this, we've come down slightly and either gone to retest it and failed again, or we have gone straight down. In other instances, maybe once or twice in the past, quite a while ago, that's when we saw the run to, 200-300 plus. That was obviously when we were able to break out of this and were able to go onto those highs. But really, that range is the make or break, in my opinion, especially based on where we've been at the minute. And why this obviously matters into the session that we're in today and this week, we're now seeing a drop lower. Now, in the previous week, we saw this consolidation point really around about 117, and of course there is a possibility that we're going to see that hold up again now, but today the most significant thing is we did drop below this, and this does matter. Now we came to a previous support, and this could be a make or break moment as well, at about 115.60, I'm going to call it, maybe about 115, right? Now, why this matters is because not only have we seen it here, we've seen it way back here. From there, we were able to recover slightly, and ultimately go onto a higher high from the 128 that we did previously hit. So there is a possibility that we do go higher from that. Although, whilst a lot of people are going to see this as a potential buy-in opportunity, and whilst, depending on your risk tolerance, again, do your research, but whilst there could be a case for that, there could also be a case for the absolute opposite. Now, I've said this many a time. I think mid to long term, the fundamentals on Litecoin are very bullish. Very bullish. At the same time, it is absolutely true to also acknowledge that we do have this trend of coming up to these levels, 130, 135, and either making it or breaking it. And being as we didn't hit and maintain, being as we came back down slightly, and being as the drop is extended today, not necessarily saying that this is the end of the trend, but it could be a point for reflection. It could be a point to take a minute and sit and question where you think this one is going next. And if you've watched these videos, I've said it many a time, it's not my job here to tell you which way this is going necessarily. I'm just highlighting both ends of the trend, with you hopefully being able to make up your own mind based on that. Again, if you want my full detailed opinions, they are on the Patreon page. With all of that being said though, what am I looking for at the next couple of levels? Well, fundamentally on the low end, I'm going to need this level of about 115, I should say, 115.50, we'll call it roughly. That's going to need to hold, right? That's going to need to hold up all week. That's going to be a very, very important level to watch out. The reason why I think that is because considering this relatively recent rip that we've seen, all the way from the prices around the 100 mark to the 130s, right? One thing that we saw is this held up. This held up previously, and this is arguably one of the closest levels of support that we have. If we don't hold on to this, we could be looking to go a little bit lower, possibly to the 112s, possibly even lower, right? We've seen this one have a lot of volatility when it comes off of these points, and today has arguably been a very volatile day. Now, there is still some upside potential. I would absolutely agree with that. I think long term, of course, the potential really is there. But first, we're going to need to break out above 118.50. A lot of difficulty doing that today. We can't seem to get above this. Now, do bear in mind this has been a previous level of support, so potentially something to pay attention to there, right? But we can't seem to really break this 115.50, 115.60 mark at all today. Maybe this is going to change tomorrow, meaning that if you see that being a possibility, and if you see us going back to touch maybe 130 plus, potentially a very bullish opportunity here if that's what you're looking for. However, I'm looking at this in a fair, equal way, right, for both sides of the spectrum. Please don't forget, on the 6 month chart, we're still seeing Litecoin up really big, right? This is valid, especially considering the fact that a lot of cryptos are running right now. However, don't forget to factor this in. And taking these runs for granted, especially thinking that this is going to go in a straight line up, is obviously not going to be a smart way to do things. Now, I'd love to be that guy who sits here and tells you, you know, this is going to go straight up to 3,000, 6,000, but that's not likely, in my opinion, right? And if you want to watch one of those YouTube channels, fine, that's your business. But I'm just going to tell you the truth. I don't think this one's going to go up in a straight line. I don't think this one's not going to have some difficulty. I think we're going to need to break above some key levels in the next week. You know, then from where we just highlighted at 118.50 roughly, we're going to need to go on way past, really. Something like 125, 126, previous levels of resistance around here. Do that and we could be on to better things. But at the minute, guys, it's very hard to say. Again, a red day today. If you want to know more about my personal stance on Litecoin and how I'm playing my position, because yes, I am in on Litecoin, you can learn all about that on the Patreon page. Link is in the description, the bio, and the comment section, along with other stocks and cryptos, which I will be talking about over there. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I do appreciate you staying to watch the whole thing. See you again soon, guys. Goodbye.